Okay, wonderful. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Emily Sprenger. I'm an academic trainer in the Center for Teaching and Learning. And I'm so happy to be helping host this webinar today entitled Hidden Gems, Discover How Our Academic and Finance Advisors Contribute to Retention and Degree Completion Rates. We have one of our very own alumni and part-time professors, Dr. Gary Walker-Roberts, presenting with us today, and one of our very own academic and finance advisors, Sam Bartosky. So a couple of very brief housekeeping things. Remember that we are recording this webinar and we will post it in our CTL LibGuides webinar section for you. Please do ask any questions that you may have in the Q&A. And just a little heads up, this is going to be interactive. So we plan to have a few menti.com moments throughout this presentation. And I just want to keep you in the loop for that. So more to come. That does it for my brief housekeeping pieces for you. And I am going to pass this over to Dr. Gary.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thanks for attending. And Emily, that was wonderful. And did everybody see Emily's sparkly diamonds on her shoulders? That's awesome. And in the room with me today, I have the sparkling diamond right over my right shoulder. And if you could see Sam, she is the sparkling diamond here. So my name is Dr. Gary Walker-Roberts, and I am so thrilled to be presenting with Sam today. Like Emily said, I am an alumnus here at Northcentral University, and I work in the Center for Teaching and Learning as one of the alumnus navigator, and recently assistant part-time professor in the School of Education. So I'm so excited to be here today and to present Hidden Gems. And I'm going to pass it over to that hidden gem right now to Sam.
Hi, welcome everyone. I'm so excited to be here as well. My name's Sam Bartosky, and I have an academic finance advisor, and I've been with NCU for going on my 8th year. So I did have the pleasure of being Dr. Gary's academic and finance advisor, and it was definitely an experience and wonderful. So.
Awesome. And thank you, Sam. So as we talk about the academic and finance advisor role today and the interaction with scholars, I thought it would be best that we go ahead and do a bit of a brief overview of the academic finance advisor. So give 1 second here. So today was birthed out of my dissertation, and I did a dissertation at Northcentral University on whether or not the advisor role contributed to retention and degree completion. So this actually comes from my dissertation, which is the academic advisor is defined as an expert, right? Sam is the expert and her colleagues are expert that give online students advice in online education. So, they can certainly give us advice, whether it be mental wellness, health, well-being in our academic journey, and they help us overcome obstacles. So that's what we're going to talk about today, overcoming obstacles. But one of the point of difference about our AFA is that they are not only academic advisors, they're also financial advisors. So they have like that dual role to really be able to help us go to one person to get that help. So let's go over some of the goals for today's presentation. There we go. So today's presentation goals are, we are going to discuss communicating with your academic and finance advisor, whether it's asynchronous or synchronous. And then we're going to go over some services that the academic and finance advisor will help our scholars, and we will learn how to lean on them. So lean on each other and really talk about the ability to help scholars overcome any issues that they have in their academic journey. And then we really want to highlight the work group number for the academic financial advisor in the absence of their assigned advisor. And there's that number. So really, we got it bolded here in red. And then we're going to give you a sneak peek into the university services module. We'll end with some appreciation and some question and answer sessions. So what we wanted to do first is start out with a little story time. So what is the ideal academic and finance advisor scholar interaction look like? Well, let me show you here today. You have both Sam and I, and Sam and I came together in, what was it, Sam? I think it was in like 2016. I was the scared doctoral student thinking, what did I do? And I enrolled at Northcentral University, and I was getting these emails and I didn't know what they were. And I was just like deleting these emails. And then all of a sudden, I think, maybe 3 months into my program, I was like, okay, who is this that keeps emailing me? And so I really needed some help. And we usually don't ask for help until we really, really need it. And I needed some help because I was feeling overwhelmed with some faculty feedback. And I remember going, okay, now I need to call Sam. Like, who's this person I'm going to call? And I was a little overwhelmed and disgruntled. Do you remember when I first had that phone call with you?
Oh my gosh, Gary, you were beside yourself. And, after we talked through it and I kind of gave you some pointers on how to handle it and sent you some things to read about, how to handle feedback. You totally did a 180 and you were fine sailing after that.
Yeah.
So,
And I started to feel a little isolated too. I remember I would call you and then we started to do our check-ins and I looked forward to them. I wanted to definitely be on the phone with you. Sometimes you're like, okay, Gary, I got to get to the other students. But yeah, certainly you helped me with the overwhelmed feelings of feedback that I was getting from my professors and that engagement. And then also, there was one time in my journey that I had a struggle with a faculty member, right? And so I remember having those conversations with you and I stuck through it. And through our conversations, we got to know each other's family. Like, you knew Jason, I knew you loved the beach. Where were you going on vacations? We always had those conversations. And you started to get to know my personality. So then you were like, Gary, why don't you try this professor? Gary, why don't you try this professor? And there was that trustworthiness between the two of us that, I started to love the professors you were putting me with. So, I thank you for that.
you were very welcome. It was definitely, it is, that is one of the things I love about my job is I do get to know my students and they get to know me. And it's very rewarding. And I literally have students, emailing me pictures of their kids. I have a lady who has twins. And so she sends me pictures of them, growing up, already. So that's really neat to have
That's
that.
awesome. And here's the thing about that. Like, we started to develop these relationships and I think it was, a give and take on both sides. And we kept the relationships going, but I had really strong relationships with my professors. I had strong relationships with my students and peers, my peers that were students as well through the commons, and I could lean on them, and staff members. But I really discovered that hidden gem. You were my hidden gem. So that's what today's conversation is all about, is that academic and finance advisor stakeholder in the university that really contributes to degree completion. And, the picture says it all. I'm holding my dissertation. You and I got to meet, what was it, last month? And it was just a moment of celebration. So, I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done for me. And, you were so encouraging. You know what? Those are all great adjectives, but why don't we do an audience participation? And what we'll do is we'll go over to Mentimeter and let's build a word cloud together. So what I want you to do is take your phone, put it up to the QR code. It will take you over to Mentimeter. So let me give you a couple seconds to do that. And now I'm going to head over to Mentimeter together with you and put it in presenter mode. There you go. Oh, good. We've already got some activity. Nice. Beautiful. Awesome. Oh my God, Sam, are these all words that describe you? Hungry. Oh my gosh. Yes. We've got to keep them nice and fed. So funny, supportive, absolutely fantastic. I think these are great adjectives to describe certainly our academic financial advisors. There we go. Now we've got some energetic. Yes, definitely always bringing the energy. Awesome. Supportive. Perfect. Great. There we go. Here comes some more movement. Funny. Yes. Yes. Always keeping me engaged and laughing. What was the, oh, ear. Yes, a listening ear. I like that somebody put an ear in there. Yeah, definitely. Listening
Awesome.
ear, shoulder to lean on. What stands out to you, Sam?
The empathetic,
Oh,
definitely,
yeah.
and supportive. We listen as far to what you need and try to be as helpful as we can in any given situation.
Fabulous. Well, that's
Aw,
good. The word
that's
cloud
cool.
continues to grow. Emily, what sticks out to you?
So to me, the supportive piece, I love the person that was shoulder to lean on, and that's been my experience with my AFA. She has absolutely had my back multiple times throughout my doctorate program so far.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, let's go back over. Oh, it's continuing to move. I'm trying not to go. I know that we could watch this all day because it's so nice, knowledgeable.
That's nice.
Love it. So very good. Accessible. Awesome. Well, let's head back over to the PowerPoint presentation. And what we're going to do next is Sam's going to walk us through a little bit about what some of the interactions that you may have with the academic and finance advisor. But before Sam jumps in, I would just like to let you know where you can find your hidden gem. If you go to your NCU One homepage, and on your NCU One homepage, you will find a widget on the homepage that says NCU Contacts. And within that widget of the contacts, you can find your academic and finance advisor's name and phone number. So, take it away, Sam.
Yeah. So when we first get you assigned to us as a student, after you've been enrolled, once you become active, we do send you out a welcome email, and that would be our first contact. We send you an email. We do like to be able to establish at some, when we first get you, the best way that you would like us to communicate with you. So, given time zones, things like that, how would you like us to be able to interact with each other? By text message do you prefer, or email? So we do have, like to be able to establish that as soon as we can. So that way we're able to communicate. We do have ongoing communication. We have automated reminders. Sometimes I do get my students saying, wait, I'm in a class. Why are you sending me, a reminder about attendance? So just so you know, those are automated reminders. So we make sure that you adhere to the attendance policy. And again, where you find our contact information is, like Dr. Gary said, on the NCU contact widget. So that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So how do you prefer to interact with your academic and finance advisor? So this slide, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about communication preference, which was one of my research questions. On the left-hand side, you see the pie chart. 61% of students that I did interviews with, they wanted synchronous interactions. And then 38% wanted asynchronous interaction. And Anne says in the diamond in the middle, getting some praise from her advisor and those head pats and that, keep going, those encouragements every couple of weeks felt really good for Anne. And I think we all can be, attest to that. Anytime we get that encouragement that you're doing well, it gives us that room and encouragement to move on. So let's go back over to
Dr.
Mentimeter, because I want to see what your preferences for
Dr.
communication.
Gary?
Yes.
Hey,
yes,
I had a few questions pop up in the Q&A about making sure that they have the right QR code. So this QR code that's right here on this slide will also take them to the new question, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So once
Awesome.
you're in Mentimeter on your phone, the new question will pop up. So I just put it on every slide so that if someone joined us now, they would still be able to join in on the engagement. So great question. Thank you, Emily. So we'll go back over to Mentimeter, and you can, if you had a little time to get on that QR code. So let's go. I'm going to go back to Mentimeter and we'll get out of here. And then we're going to go to the second question. So it'll pop up as soon as I hit presentation. Boom. Okay, it should be on your phones now. There we go. We got some activity here. So rank first, second, and third order of how you prefer to communicate with your advisor.
And while we wait for people to populate their
There we
answers,
go.
someone wanted to have a clarification on the difference between synchronous communication and asynchronous.
Perfect. That's a great question. And as I was in my e-learning program at Northcentral University, I had the same questions and someone explained it to me really well. Think about synchronized swimming. Everybody has to be in the pool at the same time to do those, the synchronized, thank you, Emily, the synchronized figures. So if it's synchronous, that means it's happening at the same time. We are synchronous right now, right? In real time, we could see, I can't see you, but you could see our faces in real time. And then also asynchronous is not happening at that in the moment. So it could be like an email, right? So, or a letter, but some examples of synchronous interactions are Zoom, which, after I did my dissertation before the pandemic, but I'm sure that there's been some movement now that everybody knows Zoom and can get on a synchronous interaction. So Zoom, telephone is synchronous. So those are some good examples. So thanks for that clarification. And we got some great interactions. So looks like first place still gets a combination of both, right? And the uniqueness with our AFAs are that they can do both. They can get on the telephone and they could email. But the second place is asynchronous. So, again, we're 100% online. So that kind of makes sense, right? Like you might do the communication really late at night. And then the third is the synchronous, which is very interesting. So awesome. So now we got to see a little bit of a polling of how Northcentral University students like to interact with their AFAs. Perfect. All right, let's go back to the presentation. And here we go. Nice. And from that current slide, cool. Awesome. So next, now that we've set up the interaction preferability and that you have that conversation with your AFA, now I would ask Sam if she'd like to go over with us some of the ways that they can help scholars overcome obstacles. Like I think you heard me talking about, eliminating the feelings of isolation in 100% online. And she became somebody that I could talk to about my academics, but there's certainly other ways that they can help overcome objectives. So Sam, would you help us understand how an AFA can help us overcome objectives?
Sure. So one thing that we do try to help and navigate through any kind of family emergency situation. As we know, life can happen. And so if you're in a course and all of a sudden you're not able to get your assignments completed, we do have options as far as requesting any kind of extensions or things like that. So I would always first, make sure that the student is communicating also with their professor along with the academic finance advisor. And then we also do have a lot of questions about your financial aid in that process. So that can be very complicated. We do understand that it's complicated. It's complicated for us. So we do try to simplify that so that everybody's all on the same page and kind of let you know when you need to do what you need to do to keep that money flowing. So just, kind of on that, that we help with that. The other thing, when you have an advisor assigned to you, if you're a doctoral student, we do have you all the way up until you are going to transition into the dissertation phase of your program. We are sad when we have to do that. However, the dissertation advisors are very, specialized in taking care of the students in that phase of their degree. So, just so you know, we're not going anywhere. I'm still going to be here for you. You can still reach out to me. You can still call me. I will still help you regardless. So just kind of thinking of it as, you had one great advisor. Now you have two in your court. So, so that's a good thing. The other thing is we do have some concerns sometimes with assignment advisors where the turnover as far as, getting turned over to a new advisor because your current advisor either one got promoted to a different position or left the company. But I just wanted to rest assure you all that we do try to keep all the coverage for you and keep you going with the team, because we have a team of advisors. So you're getting well taken care of until that new advisor has been trained. The other thing is with regards to getting your financial aid dispersed to you, just kind of keep in mind that the funding does come about 30 to 45 days after you start each course or on the receipt of your award letter. So just kind of keep that in mind. But again, you can call us or if you're not able to get us, or get the work group if you're not seeing it come in that kind of time frame. The other thing is just there for you, listening to you with all of the, hurdles that you're going through, and trying to brainstorm to see if there's anything that we can do to help you alleviate those concerns. Okay. The other thing is again, we have the coverage for when your assigned AFA is out on vacation or on holiday. We do split up the coverage, and we try to take care of you within our team. The other thing, is, again, we do try to respond within 24 to 40, at least 24 hours. I do want to make sure that you remember, if you're going to give us a call, make sure you leave a message, because we will not know to call you back unless you leave that message, but we definitely will call you back. If you need something immediate, remember that number with the work group. We definitely have in the work group, with our department, there's about 55 advisors. So somebody is going to be there to help you. We all are trained on the same thing, so we should be able to help you. Okay, so that's pretty much, we're there for you. Just pick up the phone, call us, email, text, whatever works for you.
I love it. Thanks, Sam. You mean you do take a vacation and go on holiday?
Yeah, once in a while. I'm one known that I wait until the end of the year, so I have all at once. I'm trying to split it up, but I'm getting better.
And you can't work 24 hours. So I love what you said, Sam. Pick up the phone and call the work group number. So the work group number is on the next slide. So let's go there. I think there's a lot of data. There might be a lot of people on. It's not. There we go. Okay. So here's the work group number. It's the 188 number. It's bolded in red. This is very important. I think it goes back to Sam's point that somebody is going to be there to help you. And so we never like to feel helpless, right? So you have Monday through Thursday, Friday, Saturday. These are the times. So if you can't or don't get a hold of your academic and finance advisor, go ahead and pick up that phone. Everything is based Arizona time. So it's really bolded here. So you have to do the translation of your time zone. And if outside of the time frame, we always have the Alumnus Navigator in the CTL. So you can always go to the Center for Teaching and Learning and chat with a alumni and navigator, and they will be able to help as best they can. And we could even create tickets for you so that the next available academic finance advisor can reach you. So there's always a strategy in place to be there to help you. Speaking of help, there's plenty of services that are provided by the academic and finance advisor, and you'll see a little bit of overlap, but these are some of the bullet points that of many things that they do that Sam and I really thought would be good to go over with scholars at Northcentral University. So I'm going to let Sam really go through some of these bullets on this slide. And yeah, thanks, Sam.
All right, you're welcome. So we are going to talk a little bit more in detail on the next go round with regards to the incomplete and grade appeal process. But we do want to go over that with you. The other things that we do is the leave of absence process on how to navigate through that if you end up having to take a leave of absence from your program. We also are able to change your schedule of your courses. We try to maximize, with how you do your courses to go along with your financial aid to make sure everything is all good. Some courses can't be overlapped with each other. We're kind of specific in whatever school you're going to. We can help navigate through course acceptance. Did want to talk about that just for 1 second. a lot of times when you go into your portal and you know that you have a course coming up and all of a sudden it's not there, sometimes they do become unpinned. So just kind of check on that. But if you still can't, get it, just give us a call. We'll be happy to make sure that you're able to accept your course. Okay. The other thing is we will help navigate through any kind of program change or specialization change request. That is a little bit of a process, so we'll go through that with you. There's also active scholarships that we do offer. You do have to have their specific limitations as far as guide, where you are in the program to be eligible to apply for them. But we certainly will let you know as soon as you're able to apply for those. Those are awesome. So definitely encourage our students to apply for those. We can walk through any kind of cash payment process if you, have, want to decide that you're using financial aid and all of a sudden now you won the lotto or something and you want to pay cash. We can definitely get you set up with that. We also can, get you hooked up with our Americans with Disabilities, the ADA accommodations. That if it's something that you need, we can definitely point you in the right direction on how to get that set up. We also can navigate through if for whatever reason we need to walk through a professor change. We definitely would want to encourage, that, if something comes up with that, definitely try to work it out before we get to that point. Any kind of professor requests, if you, keep track of, the professors that you really click with when you start your program, so that if you're in a doctoral program and they are a chair, maybe we can get you with that chair, by the time you get there. So kind of keep track of, who you have. We want you, definitely, sometimes we can't accommodate that as far as that goes, but we want you to experience all of our talent. So yes, you may get, stuck on one professor because you love their style and you like how they are, but all of our professors have wonderful information and talents, and we want you to experience all of that. So the other thing is definitely with the financial aid assistance. Again, that can be daunting. I'm right there with you, but we will definitely walk you through and help you the best we can through that process. So that's just, yeah.
And
that's pretty much.
I just want to say, as a doctoral student, so far my AFA has already helped me with change schedule courses, course acceptance, specialization change. So she's been busy during the first four courses, and I appreciate it. So
awesome.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Emily. And the thing is that we picked two. Sam ranked the 1 and 2 services provided. So we'll go over those in subsequent slides. But first, we wanted to go over where would you start looking for some of these services. So if you see here, this is your University Services module. The University Service module is on your NCU 1 homepage, and the left-hand screen shows you, it's a beautiful picture. Maybe Sam picked it because it looks like the beach. That's so relaxing. And that's where you're going to go to find the help. Once you click on there, you will see the University Services module opens up, and then you see the services and forms. And that's where that top arrow is, and then you would click in the listing on the left-hand column, the university services and forms. And then you see the grade appeal, which Sam just beautifully explained a little bit about, the incomplete grade, and the leave of absence. And, Sam, I think you said one thing that really hit me home, which was, and you're going to drive this home in a little bit, but being proactive, right? Like really hitting, getting involved and getting that interaction right away. So make sure that you notice this on your NCU 1 homepage. Now, Sam is going to go into the top 2 services. But before we did that, was there anything else, Emily, just a little check-in? Are we feeling good?
Yes, one tiny thing I have to add. I love this check-in because Cheryl has to say, hi, Sam. It's Cheryl Robertson. I miss you. Glad to see you. I'm sorry. I had to put that in there. Carry on.
Oh, I wish I could see you. We will someday.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm.
So I'll kick it back over to Sam to go over financial aid. She is an expert in this category. So go ahead, Sam.
Thank you so much.
You're
All
welcome.
right. So the number one question that we get a lot is with regards to if you have additional living expense money coming from your financial aid. So just, know that we want to get that money to you as soon as possible, but we do have to follow the Department of Education guidelines as far as being eligible to receive it. So it does come to you normally 30 to 45 days after you start each course. So you have to be eligible to be able to receive the money. That's one of the things that happens. So sometimes you will receive an email letting you know when that money is dispersed. So you should be receiving that email. But if for whatever reason that you are not getting that or something's going on, please reach out to your academic finance advisor so we can make sure that we have that going for you. Now, the other thing is we do have sometimes, where you have a problem and you have a non-passing grade, and sometimes depending on where you're at in the academic year, you end up with a shortfall. So sometimes that happens. We do have an additional loan that you can apply for through the Department of Education. So, kind of know that that's on the background for you. And also we can do a cash payment, if that's something that you would need to do. But just talk to your advisor. If don't let that discourage you if you find that you're in that situation. We've got lots of things that we can do, so you definitely want to have that conversation. Okay. The other thing is we will let you know when to apply for your financial aid. I like the proactive approach, trying to let you know ahead of time. So it gives you plenty of time to be able to do what we need you to do, because sometimes, as you all know, if you've completed one of those forms before, they're a little bit awkward and, kind of hard to do. And so there's some things that we may have to clear on it. We like to be able to have lots of time to be able to get that in place for you so that there's no delays. We also sometimes have to make sure that we have your scheduling that would match with your financial aid. There's just some things that, some people like to get through the program really quickly. Sometimes that doesn't work exactly with your financial aid. So again, it's a conversation that needs to happen between the student and the AFA. But we can be creative. We find all kinds of ways to be able to make it work for everybody. So that's, the other thing, the number two thing that I kind of felt like was a good thing to talk about, and this would be the incomplete and grade appeal process. So they're two different things, and the key here is definitely trying to be proactive when you are in your program. So the incomplete process just means, they call it incomplete grade process, but it really means incomplete extension. So we want you to be able to be proactive and let your professor know ahead of time if you're running behind. We want to be able to get this in place for you the last week of the course. And there's a form that you have to fill out. You have to send it to your professor. There is some things that you have to be making sure that you're up to speed as far as how many assignments you have in there and that you're in a passing situation. The process for the incomplete is a little bit different, and the grade appeal process when you are in your doctoral program in the dissertation phase of it. So in the prospectus course and the dissertation courses, that incomplete process and grade appeal process is a little bit different. So kind of just make sure you're reaching out to your advisor. But as far as that goes with, we definitely want, to make sure that you are trying to be proactive. Now, we realize that sometimes that doesn't happen, and so we can still do things. So just make sure you're communicating. The grade appeal process, if you get to that step, just know that it's not now just between the student and the professor. We are now with the dean's office as well. So there's more people involved in making that decision as far as if we can give you more time in the course. So the more proactive you can be, the better everybody is going to be. We're here to be able to help you. I know it's hard sometimes to call and say, look, I'm having a problem and I'm behind. That's, nobody wants to feel that way. And it's hard to reach out, but trust me, we understand and we are there for you, and we want to do everything we can to help you. So.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sam. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
And like we had stated before, every scholar has a unique journey, right? No scholar has an exact journey at North Central University. So I love the proactive is key here, and just reach out. And that's basically the theme today. So with that, helping scholars overcome obstacles was one of my research questions, number 2. How satisfied were non-traditional students in higher education? And as you can see, Alyssa in the middle diamond said, our interactions were super beneficial. I had an incredibly impactful experience. And if you see the pie chart on the left-hand side, almost nearly 62% said highly satisfied. So once you discover your hidden gem, once you start using them, Emily just used a great example that somebody's already shouting out to Sam, which is amazing. And what we want to do now is, we know that you haven't completed your degree, you're still in the journey, but go ahead and click that QR code. We'll head over to Mentimeter again, and I want to see what or how, let's see, often you lean on your academic financial advisor to overcome obstacles, like if it were today, or how about in the future? So go ahead and start answering. There we go. We've got some people coming in, sometimes as needed. Always, I don't hesitate to lean on my academic financial advisor for support. Never, but willing to start to develop that relationship. Awesome. Okay, good. I'm saying good to never, but that's the gap, right? So I'm like, good. Now you're going to start developing that relationship, and then always, and then sometimes it's needed. That's very understandable. Awesome. Well, thank you for doing that. And we'll head back over to the PowerPoint presentation. We'll go from this current slide. Thank you for that. And then these are just themes that came out of my phenomenological dissertation. So if you look here, I'm not going to go through over all of them, but benefits of communication style for the synchronous was encouragement, motivation, accountability. And those that were more asynchronous, they tended to be more self-regulated, self-motivated. They really could use, in our context, the Center for Teaching and Learning, the Academic Success Center. You can find lots of information there. You can, all of our centers hit the learning preferences, whether it's visual, audio, kinesthetic, experiential, they're all there for you. And factors that drive the satisfaction levels were highly satisfied when there was a personal interaction, like Sam and I demonstrated earlier today, and the connectedness. You stay connected to your academic financial advisor and to the university itself. They were satisfied when there was academic interactions, like Sam was saying, those automated emails, you're about to start this course, course acceptance, but dissatisfied was when it was just academic transactions, like there was no interaction. How are you doing in the program? Getting to know one another. And then whether or not it contributed to degree completion, which we'll talk about, was when the cost benefit was high. So through the social exchange theory, when there was a benefit for the scholar, then they continued to interact with the academic and finance advisor. But when there was a low cost benefit, there was a frequently high turnover. And Sam, I think, addressed that beautifully. Like sometimes, the academic finance advisors here and at other institutions get promoted, or they move to a different institution, and or they're just very academic transactional. So very interesting to see, put yourself in that context, see where you kind of rise to the occasion. And we also want to give thanks, right? So it's such a hard job, I think, to be an academic financial advisor. Think about it, scholars out there. We are like, oh, I need this done, I need this done, I need this done now. And we're used to the one-on-one, right? We're used to the one-to-one model. But Sam did not only have me, even though she made me feel like I was her only student at times, but they definitely had other students. So what I did is reached out, and we got some scholars to give some really nice compliments about the academic finance advisors here at North Central University. And Sam, I don't know if you're surprised at seeing some of these names, but your colleagues, right? So I'll let you shout them out and maybe read some of these comments.
Oh my goodness gracious. So Kashira, we call her Cash. She is amazing. And what Susan is saying about her, she always reaches out at the beginning of the course to see how she can help. So that's awesome. Ashley Forrest, oh my goodness, she was my team lead. I love Ashley, and I'm so excited to see that somebody recognized her. So I am who I am today because of you. Thank you for your unconditional academic guidance and support. You rock. She does. So that is awesome. The other thing, I'm like, I was dying to find out, Emily, who your academic finance advisor is. And I'm like, what? Naomi Rockhold. She is one of my teammates. I'm like, I've got goosebumps right now. Anyway, she absolutely helped me with my nerves in the beginning, my schedule many times, and she's been a rock for me if I need the support. So, oh my goodness. So good shout out to these advisors. So that's awesome.
And I'm so sorry, but I have to add to this piece right now, just because I feel like just as a graduate student, what I really appreciate about Naomi is I took the initiative. She did reach out to me. She's reached out to me many different ways, synchronous and asynchronous. But when I reach out to her, she knows that I want to have a conversation. So she will call me back so we can talk. And that's, I think that is about me being proactive and knowing that I need to tell her what I need because she can't read my mind unless I tell her. So I've just been so appreciative of her support. That's all.
Aww,
the end.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, Emily. Thank you for sharing. And in the one thing that I see is a rock star. Yes, they are diamonds, are they not? They shine. And Dr. Galveo is right in the middle. So Dr. Galveo is one of our inaugural alumnus navigators in the Center for Teaching and Learning. And Ashley, so she's a prime example too of somebody who's earned their doctorate degree with the partnership of their academic and finance advisor. There's even more. Are you going to believe this, Sam? Here's two more. Do you know who these?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh. So Joy. So she is she's my partner in crime. She's a dissertation advisor. So when I turn my students over, a lot of times she will be assigned as the new advisor. So we love to be able to go to graduation when we can go to graduation, just, before when we had it in Scottsdale. Anyway, we like to meet our students at the same time because we're definitely working together. So what this Cynthia is saying about Joy is, thanks for helping me keep on track and with my program and for always answering my questions. The other one, Mike, we call him lovingly Funky. Funkhauser is his last name. So I know he likes it anyway, but he rocks. So you rock. Thanks for getting me scheduled into Dr. Gary's class. I heart you, insert heart emoji. And that's from Emily Lewis Johnson. So thank you very much, you guys, for recognizing these wonderful advisors. So I appreciate that. And they appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, I guess I have a thank you in order to Michael as well. So thanks for getting Emily into my class. But here we go. So let's go over to Mentimeter one more time. I promise you it's the last time. But this was the third research question from my dissertation, which was, finally, one of the inclusion criteria was that they had to have graduated. So this was asking, did they feel, or what were their perceptions about whether or not the academic and finance advisor contributed to their degree completion rate? And as you could see, Alyssa in the center said, having that additional communication and check-in actually kept me on track. and kept me motivated to continue. So certainly there were almost nearly 70% of the participants in my study that felt that they did contribute, they did contribute 100% to being able to graduate. And I'm a testament of that as well. So again, thank you. It sounds like, Gary, can you stop thanking me? Because I just am so appreciative of everything that she has done for me as an academic and finance advisor at Northcentral University. So if you want to grab your QR code on your phone, let's head over to Mentimeter one more time, promising, but I think it's fun. But let's see, here we go. And I will enact the last question. So after attending today's presentation, how likely are you to, let me move myself, are you to focus on strengthening and building your scholar-advisor relationship? So let's see, yes, more than likely, good, without a doubt. Okay, yes, good. We wanted that without a doubt. No, not likely to reach out at all. Self-regulation, that's cool. We saw that, right? So as an online institution, you get that opportunity and you're probably very self-regulating. Fantastic. Cool. What else is popping up there, Emily? Do you see anything?
I see more than likely is what I'm seeing as in terms of contributions there.
Fantastic. Cool. Look at that. Like it's almost like a little smiley face. You got two pieces of it. Awesome. All right, well, let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation. And we're heading down to the question and answer. So we can open it up. We wanted to leave some room, like obviously 10 minutes for some discussion and just have some interaction with the participants that are on today. And I loved that you shouted out somebody already, but if you want to shout out your academic and finance advisor, now's the time to do it if you're on. But yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
Absolutely, yes. Any questions, please go ahead and pop them in the Q&A for us. I do have a few more comments to share that popped up in the Q&A while I'm waiting for some of those questions to come in. Negus mentioned, this is in our first Menti, when we were talking about how our AFA, I guess the words that we were popping in for the Menti in the very beginning, and Negus had lifesaver. And I wanted to put that in there because I probably have similar sentiments on that. Couple of other things. Okay, so let me see. Oh, Christine shares, I love Courtney. She is my advisor. Lots of kudos, props, and shout outs to my AFA, Courtney Cotton. So just a few more shout outs there. And, you know, this is something that we talked about a little bit before, but just trying to explain on the idea that one advisor has multiple students. And I see that Catherine mentioned something about how she'd like to be able to depend on one advisor. And I'm just going to say one piece, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Gary and Sam maybe to add a little bit. The way that I look at it is, because I actually in 2013, I used to be an advisor for NCU. And then I moved I was promoted to a different role, and then I left to be a mother. So I am literally, and then came back to NCU. I am literally that example of how I made life choices that were right for me. And obviously I did have to say goodbye to some of my students when I made that transition. But what I love about NCU with the AFA family is that everyone can help you as a student. So, and people in AFAs, they make life choices as well too, right? Right, Sam?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that is the case. You know, we can't control it sometimes, you know.
Yeah, and so the way I like to look at it is if you do end up having multiple academic advisors, they're there to help you along in your journey. And it's up to you to have that dialogue, that conversation, to set up the relationship that you need to be successful in your program. And I hope that helps address that a little bit. Is there any other thoughts on that, Dr. Gary or Sam?
Well, Sam, did you want to jump in?
Well, I was just going to say, Emily, you explained that beautifully. So, whereas yes, I mean, we would love to be able to have just one student and, one-on-one, we are one-on-one, but we do have other students that we also are one-on-one with. So again, we're all here to help you. All of the advisors we have, we got the work group number going. So, if you're not, getting that answer that you need, definitely we're all here to help you. So.
Love it. And from a graduate's perspective, right? I did not, I think I had a transition early, but it was so early that I didn't notice. And then I got Sam, and then Sam stayed with me for the 2.5 years. And so, I might just say that, Sam has been here for 8 years, by the way, at Northcentral University. So kudos to Sam. I just lucked out, I suppose, for that. But I did transition to Joy, and Joy was phenomenal. And Sam had to spend some time on the phone with me. I was like, what do you mean? Like, no way, this isn't going to happen. I need you. And, I think, Sam, you explained it beautifully earlier that you're still there. You still work for Northcentral University. We still had our check-ins. But I did enjoy Joy's expertise in the dissertation phase. Like, she understood the doctoral record. She understood the phase that we go through and all of that. So she was great for me as well. But, I did have 2 years with you. So a little over 2 years. So it's going to happen, but I think you're right. Like, we always go back to call that work group number, utilize that work group number. But yeah.
And I don't think that there's anything else right now. Cheryl just wants you to know that she loves you. That's all. That's all. I thought that was sweet to share, so I was going to.
Love her too.
Let us know if there's any other questions that you can think of. Dr. Gary, is there anything else that you want to discuss to wrap up?
I think that some of the things, right, like as a doctoral student from Northcentral University, some of the themes were that, they are rock stars. Our AFAs, rock stars. They're here for us to get us across the finish line. And it's just such a joy, right, to see that. The other thing is the work group number. We're always here for you. There are people that are behind the screens at Northcentral University, although we are 100% online. We are here to help you succeed and get you across the finish line. That is, I promise you, all of stakeholders and goals at Northcentral University. But I wanted to really just bring out the hidden gems, those that kind of get little tucked away in that, awesome treasure chest box, and that diamond is there. So find your diamond and utilize them to get across the finish line. So I'm going to end with my thank yous to Sam. Like, you've changed my life.
Oh, and you are so very welcome. And I'm so proud of you. Look at where you are. This is why I do my job, to get you to your dream and what you want to succeed in your life. And I'm very proud of you. And it was an honor.
Well, I'm living my dream doing this presentation.
Right?
It's been a couple years in the making. But thank you, Emily. You're always a great host. I love your diamond shoulders. Please, everyone, play today. Rihanna, shine like a diamond. Like, go out there and just really have a wonderful day. And Sam, I'll kick it to you, and then we'll kick it to Emily to end with a big thank you to everyone today.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much for everyone. I wish I could, I hope to meet you all someday at graduation. That's my goal, is to meet you someday.
Sorry, Sam. Please, Emily, thank Michael. Michael did, just as those fireworks started to happen, Michael always does a phenomenal job with my PowerPoint presentation. So awesome.
Yes, thank you so much, Michael Lynch. And I do want to say thank you to Sam, and thank you to Dr. Gary, and thank you so much to our attendees for participating in our mentee journey and having that hands-on experience here. Don't forget, utilize your AFA, and if you need something in an emergency, contact that 888 number. I hope you all have a good rest of your day.